association with Macklin's Gym Marbella. We're in Leeds today. We've just had the weigh-in for We Are Leeds show. With me, I've got trainer Joe Gallagher. How are we doing, Joe?
Not bad, James. Yourself?
I'm all right, thank you, mate. Very well. Callum Johnson in action this weekend for yourself. Good. He's building up a good bit of momentum again at the moment. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, listen, he won Commonwealth Games gold medal 2010. Turned pro in a blaze with Nazim Hamid as his manager, Frank Warren as promoter. Got off to a good start, and then through one thing or another, obviously there's a bit of inactivity. Decided to throw the towel in a little bit. I've talked them back into it, and this will be his sixth fight within the 12 months back, and he's beginning to build a good bit of momentum, sparring, and in the time that he's been back in the gym, he's been learning all the time, and I'm really looking forward to him fighting tomorrow night, and this will be his last fight before, like his stablemate Jose Burton, both go gunning for titles.
Spoke to him today about the same thing. Recent activities really helped him develop as a fighter and helped him progress a little bit. Are you now going to be looking to step him up in opposition over the next coming months?
Yeah, definitely. If you look at the British rankings, I think there's Bob Azagiev, then it goes Travis Dickinson, then it goes Jose Burton, Callum Johnson. So, yeah, both kids are ready to go in the mix. Callum, I feel, he's learned his craft during his time back. He's had great sparring in the gym. He's been over to LA with us. He's been to Marbella this year with us, and he's like he's the silent one in the division, and it's a division wide open, ready for the taking now with some fresh blood. And I feel Callum Johnson and Jose Burton are the two kids there, the Cleverly Bellew of this coming term now, of the kids that are coming through talent wise.
I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Paul Smith. Obviously, commiserations for him for his last defeat in Germany, challenge again for the world title. There's now talks of him facing Andre Ward potentially. Is that a fight the camp are up for, and is that something Paul would consider?
Yeah, definitely. It isn't every day you get the chance to fight one of the pound-for-pound best boxers in the world. It's just like everybody would love to fight Floyd Mayweather because of the paycheck it brings with it. But Paul, obviously, has had 2 performances against Arthur Abraham. It's an opportunity. Andre Ward hasn't fought for a while. Obviously, he needs a suitable opponent. Most probably to shake the ring rust off. Most probably looks at Paul Smith as that. Paul meets the criteria. Showed that he mixed it well with Arthur Abraham, an opponent who Andre beat. And if that's what it is, a 10-rounder or whatever it is, it's a good fight for Paul Smith. The lads this week in the gym, when I mentioned about it, there might be a chance. I said, Paul might do this, And I got laughed out of the gym, thrown out of the gym and everything else. But that's just me, the cynic in me. And we're in a sport of boxing that there's upsets after upsets. And I don't think the world of boxing has ever had a huge upset within a very long time. And Paul, the way Paul is, he's that type of kid that could cause it. I think Andre Ward, technically very good. I do think he'll present more openings than what Arthur Abraham did. But I know I've seen already the suggestion of Paul fighting Andre Ward is ridiculous. But if Andre Ward was to fight somebody else in America, why not? Paul Smith's fought Arthur Abraham, and we're too quick to knock our own over here, and we should just get behind him and give it him. It's a chance for him to go in there, fight one of the best in the world, pound for pound, and it'd be great if Paul Smith gets in there and gives a good account of himself. And you just never know when you're in there. It just takes that one punch, and I'm sure I've seen Andre Ward, he's training as though Paul Smith's a real live fight. So we're up for it, and Paul Smith is as well.
Can't talk about Paul Smith without mentioning being the British super middleweight champion, still holding that belt. His brother Callum is kind of getting close to the stage where he could fight for that belt potentially. Rocky Fielding as well in the mix looking for that belt. Is Paul got any intentions of defending that belt, or is he just going to kind of let it go?
Well, Paul relinquished the belt this week, and the board have put out Callum Smith to fight Rocky Fielding for the British title. So that goes out to purse bids. They're called for May the 13th, and Callum Smith v Rocky Fielding is what they've called for. I think Paul, the 2 years that he was British champion, I think it's just a shame the board didn't allow him to defend the title against the opponents that were around at the time. There was Luke Blackledge, there was Chella Renda, there was I think it was not Dylan White, what's he called, the other kid down south. There was 3 or 4 kids that were put forward that the board rejected, and it's just a shame that Paul wasn't able to fight. The other one was Rocky, but failed the weight at that time. So through no fault of Paul, he hasn't been able to defend the title. He's wanted to. The opponents have been there, but the board have knocked him back, and it's a shame that he's given it up. But like you say, he's on that scene now. He's 2 fights to Arthur Abraham. If he gets the Andre Ward job, that's it. But it's stepped aside there now and let his brother Callum Smith, and Callum Smith fights Rocky Fielding. That's a great fight for Callum Smith and a chance for all 4 brothers to have become British champions.
Can't have you here without talking about the stuff that's been going on with Scott Quigg and Carl Frampton. Official statement came out from Carl Frampton. We read the we read the column. His name was attached to it, so I'm going to take it that it was from Carl. Eddie Hearn's then responded to that. You're obviously heavily involved in this stuff. What can you tell us from your perspective?
Well, from my perspective, I just think to myself, Carl Frampton sat at home, his wife and his mum and dad must be thinking, £1.5 million. What you doing, lad? Get on to your manager, your promoter, and tell them to make that fight. You're a millionaire. Carl Frampton at the moment has got the winning lottery ticket. He just isn't cashing it. He's got he's a millionaire overnight. So unless they're being paid fortunes over there on that, brilliant. But £1.5 million, that's $2.2 million. And that's, like Scott Quigg said, if ITV or Barry McGuigan was to offer Scott Quigg £1.5 million, we'd take the fight for that amount of money in that weight division. It's unbelievable amount of money. And for Carl, I'm sure, for whatever reasons, that, like I said, they've turned it down. That's down to them if they're played to it. But I'm sure if Scott Quigg was offered £1.5 million and we said, no, you don't, I'm sure Scott Quigg's mum and dad and girlfriend would be going, take no weed of him. You go out there and you get that fight. That set you up for life, set the kids up for life. And the thing with Scott Quigg and Carl Frampton, the young kids, they're cut from the same cloth. They train hard in the gym. They want to fight the best. And both kids want the fight. And whoever wins can go on, and whoever loses can come back again. It isn't the end of any of their career, but what this fight does is financially sets them up. And as a trainer, myself, I'd love to see Scott Quigg fight Carl Frampton. He's financially set up for life. He can come back and he can go again. He win and he moves on. And we're in a brutal sport. And like I said to Coogan last week, you're in a sport where it was timely of young Brad Smith in Australia that passed away. Each time you step in the ring, you're putting your life on the line. People forget that we're in the legalised killing business, as brutal as it sounds, but that's what it is. And Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, as much as everyone wanted to see it and they should fight it, they didn't go and do it for pittance, did they? Because they're putting the life on the line when they're going in there against the serious threat contender closest to them. So the same with Carl Frampton and Scott Quigg, and £1.5 million, that's an awful lot of money to turn down. But like you say, Carl, and for whatever reason they don't want it, it's down to them. But we've offered it. We've got stick over the years, me, Scott Quigg, everyone else not wanting it, We've always wanted it, always. And like you say, it hasn't happened. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. I was very surprised that Carl Frampton, literally within hours of the announcement went out, replied, I think it was through Kevin Mitchell in The Guardian, saying, no, we knock it back. And that's like, wow, I'm sure whatever's going on over there, it's hard to explain, isn't it, fathom, because if you're in the situation, James, and my fighters and myself, when we're offering £1.5 million, how can we say to somebody, no, that's £1.5 million, where you got to get that? It'd be different, I'm sure. Listen, if Carl Frampton's got being offered £1.5 million and they've got a £2 million offer on the table, well, yeah, of course, knock it back because you got bigger. But I don't know what they have, and I think Carl Frampton don't earn no more money bigger than that in that division than Scott Quigg. And Scott Quigg doesn't earn no more big money than if he was to fight a Cruz or a Gondo or anyone else in that division. So, listen, it is now. Like Scott Quigg said the other day, it's getting a bit boring. I seen him the other day, this and this and this, back and forth between the two of them. But what can we do? And people have got to understand as well, in boxing, when you're a professional boxer and you turn pro, you look around for a trainer. So you employ a trainer to train you to be the best. Then you shop around and you look to get a manager to manage you the best, and you pay them a cut of your money. Then you get a promoter then, the best for you that you shop around, that'll promote you the best. Carl Frampton employs them promoters and their managers. So Carl Frampton is the boss. Scott Quigg is his boss. He tells and does and directs and everything else. And I can't believe Carl Frampton has turned down £1.5 million. If he has, fair play to him and everything else. It was a great fight. It's got to go down to them fights that should have happened, like a Martin Murray, Macklin, Darren Barker situation. It's been great fights over the years in British boxing that hasn't happened. There was great light middleweights years ago that didn't happen. And this has got to be one of them that didn't happen. Ricky Hatton, Junior Witter didn't happen. And that's it. So we're onwards and upwards. And it's not a case of, well, there's bigger fish to fry, but there's weight divisions to move into. There's fighters. Cruz has gone up to featherweight now as well. So there's other options, and it's just a shame, really. But I think the next path for Quigg now, most probably off to America and most probably fight over there and do something over there.
Eddie spoke about potentially looking at other opponents for Quigg's next date. Who does that put in the mix, Joe, in your opinion? What kind of level of fighter? Because it must be not anticlimactic for Scott Quigg, but to have all this going on, big offers each side and money, how do you then get motivated to put him in with someone who is not that level of opposition?
Well, for Scott Quigg now, he takes on so much huge stick. I think it's unfair. The kids that are in the frame, people mentioned earlier today, Kiko Martinez was giving Quigg stick on Twitter the other week, calling him out and everything else, so he's throwing his name into the frame. And then there's also Rigondo, and I said to Scott Quigg in the gym this week, I said, you know what, if it ain't got to be Carl Frampton, let's go and fight Rigondo. Alright, we're getting stick for not fighting him, so we'll most probably get stick for fighting him, and if we got beat, we'd get stick, but if we won, we're in. So it's a no-win situation. We've got to test ourselves against the best, so if Frampton doesn't want it, well, listen, there's Rigondo there, there's Anita Danair there, there's obviously a chance. And it isn't this, people outgrow the division, not through talent. We look at all boxers and may have gone through the weight divisions. You look at Santa Cruz going up to featherweight. Scott Quigg, if you look at him 2 years ago when he fought Boo Van Aert for 2 years now, and when he was in the ring with Frampton, he's just getting bigger and bigger, not through fatness or anything, but he's in the gym and he's grown, he's developing man strength, and it's time for him nearly closely to move into the featherweight division. So it's just a shame we couldn't have had the big fight at super bantamweight, but if Carl decides to move up to featherweight, the three of them, Cruz, Carl and Quigg, could all move up to featherweight, but they're the type of fights now we go to America. There's fighters over there that are very good. There's some really hot prospects coming through, and Quigg's a hunted man. And but like you say, Rigondo is my first choice. I'd say to Quigg, let's try and make that fight, and let's test ourselves against the best, and that's what we all want to be in boxing. And Rigondo's a very much avoided man, and there's not a fear factor there. Quigg and Rigondo have sparred before a couple of times, and he's a good fighter, and I don't buy into him getting dropped last time and he's getting worse. It's very much like Matthew Macklin said, it just made him madder, if there is such a word, and that's the way we'd go.
Matthew Macklin back in action on Birmingham. Can you confirm that you'll be in Matthew Macklin's corner for the Birmingham show?
Listen, I've not spoke to Matt. Matt's his own kid, isn't he, at the moment? I'm not sure. I got a text from him last night. I'll speak to him over this weekend, and we'll see what happens. But last time I spoke to him, it was no different. He was doing a bit of training over in Marbella. We're a month, how many weeks away from it now? 4 or 5 weeks away from it now. So I'll speak to Matthew over the weekend. Matthew's his own man. Obviously, we've got Cardle, Craig Evans coming up. Callum Smith, the return of Callum Smith at the beginning of May 9th as well. Stephen Smith wanting the winner. It's a huge, huge year, and just got to crack on. It's just a big shame, you know. We're really good at that. Carl Frampton take that £1.5 million. But listen, I'm sure Carl, his wife, his family, everyone will be having something to say about that. But there you go. It's gone now by the looks of things. They haven't responded, and that's it. It's just unfortunate. It's just another British huge fight that hasn't happened. It'll most probably go into the books very much like Witter and Hatton.
I said I hope it can be made. We look forward to hearing some further developments, whatever the case may be. Thank you for talking to IFL TV and giving us some of your time, Joe. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you again.
Great atmosphere tomorrow night, Leeds. Really looking forward to it. Although I have to be quiet in there, but it's a really great atmosphere, and I'm really looking forward to Callum Johnson have a good win. Him and Jose Burton, they're absolutely ready to make their move now on that light heavyweight division.